this is Annie from Vintage Lace Journal, and today I'm going to do a project with you which involves these bags. These are paper bags we get when we get prescriptions. So obviously they open up on the inside and they have the folded bottom. So I'm going to show you how to just make a fun little project with these today. So let's get started. I'm going to choose a smaller bag today for my project, and this roughly measures about 28 centimetres by 9 centimetres, which is 10 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches. So the only cutting I'm going to do on the bag is this part at the top, right at the start, because if you see it's got quite a jagged edge on there. So I'm just going to use my trimmer just to straighten that up. And you only need to take a tiny little piece off. So that's the first little cut I'm going to do. There we go. So just get rid of a tiny little 1/8 of an inch. There we go. So I'm going to have the bag with my opening end to the left and my bottom to the right. Now there's this little tabby bit here. What we're going to do is where this actually meets your bag here, I'm going to take that and just fold it over again. Okay, so that creates a small pocket in there. Next thing I'm going to do is get to the left hand side of the bag and bring it over so it meets this edge here. And then put a fold there as well. So that will make the basis of our bag. So this part here will be a pocket that opens up. This part here will be a pocket on the inside, and then you've got a space on here. You could add another pocket, but we're now going to decorate this to decide what we're going to do. So before I do any sticking, I'm actually going to I'm just going to stick this one pocket down here, just so I know my paper doesn't have to go into that part there. Okay. And then I'm going to start measuring my papers to go into my project. Now I'm using up these pads today. I've got a small one and a large one. This is from the works. I've had it quite a while. I've only got a few pages left in here now, and the same with this one, the Soft Botanical. So they're kind of like pads. I'm trying to use projects at the minute that use up all my odds and bits and pieces that are left over in pads. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about this section here. Now remember, this is going to be creating a pocket, all right? So although I'm going to be decorating all of this, this part will be covered up. And you also have to think about the direction you want your papers in. Obviously, I'm now going to have it this way. So my opening goes to the left and my pocket will be on the right. So all the papers I now put on there, I need to have that in mind, that this is the top, this is the bottom, this will now be my front cover, and so on. So I'm just going to move it a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, so choosing papers from the inside of my pad, I'm going to have quite a plain kind of paper for this inside bit. So I thought something like this would be quite nice. It's going to go on the inside there. I quite like that. That way, and then when it folds over, to see that nice section there. First thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to speed this up, and I'm just going to distress ink all the way around the edge of the bag. Actually, I'm going to stop the camera so you don't need to see me inking up on the edges of the bag. Just taking the distress ink with my sponge tool and just going around all of these edges. So once I do that, I'll pop back on. So there we are, all the edges are now inked. So I'm now going to go ahead and put in my first piece of paper. So I'm going to have the piece of paper this way. So I'm just going to measure, this needs to be on my paper bag, which will be 4 1/4 by 3.5. 4 1/4 by 3.5. And before I put this in as well, I'm just going to go ahead and ink around the edges of the paper. Oh my goodness, I really must have tried my blade changed. It's on my to-do list is to change my blade, and with working and things it just never gets done. Okay, so just go around the edges to lift those up. And I'll be doing the same with all of the papers. I will be actually inking them before I put them down. So go ahead with some wet glue. If you want to use tape or any other glue, I just find wet glue gives a really good hold. And because this paper bag's quite thin, obviously when you start putting the cards and things on, it will strengthen it quite well. Okay, so there we have our first piece. And just make sure it's not stuck on the bottom there. Now once I've stuck that down, I can now go ahead and glue these two edges on here, and that will obviously glue down to make the pocket. No, I'm not. Tell a lie. I am going to turn this to cut my notch out first before I stick it down. No, I am going to put my paper on first, and I can cut my notch out in the paper and my bag. See, this is my thinking as I go along, guys. So I've chosen this nice green paper from the same pad. This is quite a thicker card, and that will strengthen this pocket to make that quite strong. So I'm just going to again leave a little bit of a border around the edge there, and I'm just going to mark this, cut there and there. So just be careful with these because they've been pulled out of the pad. They sometimes have this little bead of glue along the edge, so I'm just going to make sure that all comes off before I stick it on my project. Then it's hunt the mark on there, and then cut again there. Again, quick ink around the edges, just so it lifts it up from the background. And obviously when I cut the little notch out in this, I will have to re-ink it again. So think about again the direction of your paper. I think I'm going to have that going that way. Not quite cut that short enough somehow. Always say, measure twice, stick once. That's better. And it doesn't matter if this green or brown shows out from underneath. Obviously it's junk journaling, so it doesn't have to be neat and tidy. And have it that way up. Just pop that down there. And because this bag is brown and green anyway, and the papers that I'm choosing are kind of like browns and greens, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to give that just a couple of minutes to dry before I do actually hole punch this, because if it's wet it will just slide around. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to go onto this cover here. And again, looking through my pad, I've chosen this beautiful paper with the birds, and I'm going to try and choose a piece where there's quite a nice few birds on it. And again, just lay it down. And I'm just going to mark this with my pencil as to where to cut. And there. And there. I always mark my paper and then straight away lose my mark. There we go. And again, just popping around the edge with some distress ink. Shows up a lot better on the lighter paper than it does the green. There we go. Just double check again it is the right size before gluing. Perfect. So some wet glue again on the back. Always making sure that those edges are stuck down firmly, because they're the places that will lift before anything else. There we go. And just pop that. And with wet glue you get a bit of wriggle time as well. Make sure that's all stuck down nice and firmly. There we go. And the top bit obviously is where we have our opening in there. So I'm going to pop that hole in here now. little notch in our pocket. Again, just eyeballing that you've got it the same either side. I'm terrible at this. I should actually mark it, but looks about right. There we go. So I'm just going to re-ink that part I've just cut out. And then I can go ahead and just put some glue down either side to form our pocket. And this glue is another one from the Carlisle range, all-purpose glue. I just find that they stick really, really well, and they dry clear, which is always good if you've got leaks and spills. Let's give that time to grab. So that's the inside of our little bag done. So we've got our pocket in here and our other side on here. So now I'm going to think about the outside of our book, and I'm going to go on to the back first. So again, choose which paper you would like to have on the back. And because it's the back of something, it's always good to go for a fairly plain kind of colour. Let's have a little look what's left in here. This is the hardest part of choosing which papers to... I quite like this spotty one, quite a nice one. It was just the reverse of the one I've used in the middle. So I'm going to again measure this by using my pencil. So just line it up, leaving a small border around the top and bottom, and then pencil mark where you want your cut. Okay. I think my trimmer seems to work okay on card. It's just thinner paper. Need to get to the shops. That's always dangerous, going to the craft shops to buy a craft blade and coming out with a bag full of new toys. Hey ho. Okay, so again, just popping some distress ink around the edges. Doesn't always show up as well on the darker colours, but you can see it's there. There we go. And then double check again for size, which is perfect. And pop the wet glue, again making sure to get those edges. And then pop that on the back. Again, if you wanted to, you might put a little pocket on the back of here. Might take some of that card and just pop it in and make a pocket. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is think about our front cover. So again, it's just choosing those papers that you think are going to work best. And have another quick look through my pad. Choices. So I'm going to actually use this one. This is a full sheet that's not actually been used yet, but that's okay. I think it matches lovely with the inside because it's the same pattern but a different colour. So I've obviously got the greens and the pinks on the inside. So I think I might have those greens on the back as well. And that bit there is quite nice because it's got bird and hummingbird there. And some of this might get covered up with the design on the front anyway. So again, just marking off where it's going to go. And trim. That doesn't look right. Go with it. Yep, I have cut that a bit too short. I thought that didn't look right. However, that's fine. We can always cover up mistakes. So what I might do is then go over that with this. Or shall I put this on the front? No, I'm going to stick this down first. And then I'm going to create a front pocket on here using this green. Or I might just shuffle that up. So I love this big flower here and I don't really want this to cover it up. So I think I might put that to there. Just trim that small piece off. See, this is what happens when you don't check your measurements twice. I'm not going to do it again, look. So, little mark there. Any mistake can be covered up because nobody knows what your project's supposed to look like. There's no set design you're following. It's your kind of like project. And again, I'm just going to make that the same size and just have two-toned front cover. So trim that there and there. So I always say a mistake is a happy mistake. There we go, cut there. And there. So hopefully now that should go here and that will fit in nicely there. I'm not going to make it into a pocket, I'm just going to make it a two-tone cover as it is. And before I stick this down, I'm going to add some lace, I think, as well, just to give it a little bit of interest. So I bought these boxes from our local store, QD store, and they're great because I've got lots of laces on the top, and then take it off and I can get lots of bits and pieces of lace underneath. That's quite a nice one. So on the outside edge, I'm not going to do it on this edge because obviously our pocket's there. I think we might do that on the spine, is just to add some lace onto there just before I put that in. I just need to straighten that up. There we go. I'm just going to run that from top to bottom. So just pop some of our wet glue down here. Pop the glaze on top. And then trim off at the bottom. There we go. That'll give that a nice edge on that side. And then I'm going to stick my pattern paper on first. Again, just remembering to ink around the edges. I don't know if you're like me in the craft room, I'm often talking to myself. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, what happens if I do that? So the radio's not on, I'm chatting to myself. So again, wet glue on the back. And put that on here. There we go. And you can see the brown paper bag, just giving that a nice edge. And then our strip will just go over there to tuck the lace in the edges. So there we are, a happy accident, covered up and no one will ever know. And that one on there. Okay, give that a good push down because it's got two layers there, slightly high. The lace is slightly higher, just make sure that really gets stuck down. And so far we have our pocket and our inside with our tag in here, our pocket in there. There we go. And our back side like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and embellish the front of this now. I'm just going to stick some little stickers and things on it and some other things from the pad. I might add a piece of doily. Can't go wrong with a doily. And that will just cover that join as well. I'm just going to cut that there. It's quite a large one. Oh, that's better. I've got a smaller one there. So cut that there. So that will just cover that little join there. I'm going to do it around the edge, at the top. There's a tiny bit. Let's put some glue on. There we go. And in this pack as well, there is a sheet that has all these lovely butterflies on it. I think the black and white one might go nicely on there. Yep, I'm going to go for this large one here. When I cut butterflies out as well, I don't know if you do this, I don't cut the antenna out because it's so hard to cut round these, and sometimes they get broken or they just don't look great. What I'll do is once I've done that, is just get a black Sharpie and draw the antennae back on. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly cut this out. There we go, all cut out. And I'm just going to stick that on there. I'll just put a little bit of something behind that. So when I do cutting from other projects, I have a little box that all my scraps go into, which is quite nice. Sometimes it's just something the neighbours might need to fill in another project. Yeah, I quite like the look of that. So a scraps box is amazing to keep. I've got different scrap boxes for different projects. So this is my kind of like junk journaly scrap box with coffee dyed papers. And again, that's dual purpose of actually covering over that line as well. I might just go around the edge of this with my brown ink just to link that colouring in. Otherwise it's very white compared to the rest of the project. Just get that out of the way. I think I'm just going to put glue down the middle of those, just round those butterfly wings with a pencil, just bringing it under. Gives it a bit of lift. And then I'm just going to pop glue down the centre part. There. There we go. Just hold that down. And like I said, just go in with a black Sharpie. Just to draw those antennae back in there. Okay, that's what I'm going to add on the front. So I've got these words. So I'm just going to add a word to the front of here, just down the bottom at the top. It's always hard choosing the right word. I think we're going to go with a white one. Take your time. This looks like a nice green, calming journal. Ooh, top or bottom? I'm going to go for top. I often watch videos when they say, oh, where shall I put this? And you're shouting at the screen. Okay, so there's our front cover. Really happy with how that's turned out. And then back. So like I said on the back, I think I might actually do what I said before, which is make a pocket. Obviously with some of this nice green card left over. So I'm just going to trim that down at the back. We put it to about there. Again, decide which way I want it up. I think that way looks better. I am going to mark my pocket this time, just so I get it central, so that's 4 inches, near enough. Middle of my pocket just needs to be there. It's okay marking this because obviously I'm now going to cut that out, and then when you put it into your cutter, you can see where the middle is on there as well. So I've done it again. I've marked it and can't find my mark. I need to mark more clearly. sure that's central. Drop that out. And ink around the edges. I think a project for another day will be making the tags to go with this. I've got lots of papers still left over, so I'm going to make the tags off camera and then show you the end product. Tags are quite easy to make, and what I tend to do is I've got a whole box of tags, pre-made ones that I've bought, and I just use these as a template to draw around a piece of paper. If it's thick card, obviously if it's thin card, I can then go over this, but also I would keep things like packaging. When you get clothes packaging, things like that, it's always good to keep to use on your projects. So down the bottom, glue, and then just up and sides. There we go. So you have a nice little pocket on the back. So that's our back done, our front cover done. Oops, I haven't left that dry long enough. And our inside done. There we have our paper bag pocket, ready for our tags to go inside. And again, remember that paper bags come in all different sizes. Again, this one I'd make exactly the same way, it would just be slightly bigger. But you can also get paper bags. This is one I got a new phone in, and again this is a lot bigger, but the same process would be there. And with this one I wouldn't fold it over again, because then you obviously don't get a front cover. With this one I would create this as a tiny tuck spot there, and then pull that one over as a front cover there. So there we go, paper bag pocket tag holder. So here's a finished article. I've gone ahead and added some tags into here. So open up the front cover, and that's where our first journaling card is. Again with the same papers, I've just inked around the edges, and that pops in the top of our paper bag. And then on the inside, we've got the beautiful paper here. And then I just made 2 journaling tags from the same paper pack, just with brown backs ready to write on. They slot into there. And then on the back page, there's just our beautiful tag. Again, plain for journaling on. So there we go. Our pharmacy paper bag into a little mini pocket album. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment if you want to, and like and subscribe to my channel, so any new videos I put up you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. Bye.